What was your first impression of Brett?
My first impression. Well, my first impression actually wasn't the best.
I was FHE leader.
My roommate came home and was telling me about our new FHE dad, and I was not very happy by the sounds.
So we went over on the first Monday, and I thought it'd be fun if we kind of, each person sat next to a girl, and we got to know that person, and then they introduced that person to everyone else.
I thought that he was coming in with all his new ideas and taking over our family and just like gonna just be in charge and not let us have a say in anything.
So when it got to me, they mentioned apps. I mentioned apps, and then everyone kind of pointed at Emily, and they're like, "Oh, Emily codes." And I was like, "She codes? Like she does coding? Like that's her major?" And I remember thinking like, she doesn't know how to code.
But then when he came over with the rest of our new FHE brothers, by the time he left, I was like, okay, they're really awesome. He's a really cool guy. I don't know what I was thinking before, which is awesome that he could turn my impression from being negative into positive in such a short amount of time.
After FHE was over, I went over to Emily and I started asking her things that I would want coded in an app to see if she could do it. I remember thinking like, wow, I think she actually could do this.
Tell a little bit about your first date.
So our first date, I picked up Emily at her apartment and we were going to a play.
Well, he didn't have a car, so we just decided to walk.
It was maybe a 20-30 minute walk.
We went near this little Mexican place that for the longest time I thought was called Te Quiero, and he never corrected me when I told everyone that's where we went. It means I love you in Spanish.
Kind of around Halloween time. And the play was Much Ado About Nothing, which I knew nothing about, but I assumed that Emily knew actually everything about it. I don't know why.
But it was really fun. We just had no idea what was going on. It was a Shakespeare play, but replaced people with zombies, and that's what it was.
So after the play, walking home, I think that's really where we hit it off.
So we just kind of laughed the whole way home, just like talking about it and how we both had no idea what was happening.
We still talk about how awesome that was to this day.
Before we went on the date, I actually had 3 things that I was like, Brett is one of my really best friends, like good friends. I don't want to date him. I don't think that'll happen because of these 3 things I was worried about.
I'd say it actually wasn't awkward for a first date. That's pretty awesome.
But on that date, all 3 of them were just like, he like addressed them in some way. I didn't ever tell him or bring it up at all, but like just somehow naturally, like all 3 of those things were like addressed and like put my mind at ease. I was like, okay, he's actually pretty cool. Like I wouldn't mind going on another date with him. So it was great.
Tell me about your first kiss. How did it happen?
We were at my apartment and we were sitting on the couch and we were just talking, and it was like pretty late, but like, I mean, not inappropriately.
I ended up grabbing her hand, and then she was looking at me, and I was like, she totally wants to kiss me right now.
We were talking about like glow-in-the-dark toilets or something so you could see it at night when you come in.
She was totally giving me the eye.
Talking about like this glow-in-the-dark toilet that I found or something. I was like in the middle of the story, and I finished, and he didn't even respond. He just like leaned over and just like kissed me.
So I leaned in and I kissed her.
And I was like, he didn't even answer my question or like respond to my story.
Tell me about how your Tuesday night ice cream got started.
Oh, okay.
Tuesday night ice cream.
I was sitting at my apartment one day doing homework, and we were talking about the new Mac operating system that was coming out.
And so me and Emily are totally nerds, and so this is what we were talking about.
He was like, oh yeah, it's coming out on this and this date. And I was like, no, it's not. It's coming out 3 days earlier than that.
But I said that it came out a certain day, and she said that it was coming out on a different day. And I was like, no, I'm right. Like this, I'm right.
And so he like looked it up and he was like, oh man, you're right.
And she was totally right. So that was obvious. I guess that should have been obvious to me.
Like, oh yeah, I'm right. Guess you owe me a Frosty. Haha, just like totally teasing.
So I was thinking, sweet. All right, she wants to go get ice cream with me. Like, this is cool. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with being wrong if I get to go get ice cream with her.
He was like, okay, guess so. And then I was kind of like, oh crap, wait, what?
A couple days later, I texted her and I was like, hey, do you want to go get that ice cream that I owe you?
Called me and asked me to go to ice cream. And I was like, oh, sorry, Cam, I'm really busy.
I went home and she was there at my apartment hanging out with my roommates.
And then like went over to his apartment later that night.
Like, you were busy, huh?
And I was just like kind of worried just because we're like such good friends and stuff.
We found out that Sammy's had 2-for-1 shakes. So you buy one, get one free.
So I was like, oh my gosh, we should totally go. And he was like, yeah, heck yeah, jump on board with that.
And so I was like, hey, Emily, I still owe you ice cream.
So we went and it was super fun. And we're like, oh man, we should do this every week because he pays for a shake and I get one for free. So, I mean, why not?
So the next week we came back and that was 2 weeks in a row. So we were like, I'm like, 2, that's almost 3. 3's like a tradition pretty much.
So he made a calendar invite on his phone and he sent it to me and it like defaults as never having an ending. And so he's like, oh, sorry, guess we have to go every night forever, haha.
We should come back the next week and the next week.
And now we actually really have gone every night since then.
And so it just filled in her calendar for the rest of forever. And I think she ended up commenting on that like the 3rd time we went. She was like, huh, this is in my calendar forever. And I was like, yeah, I guess it is. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll just keep coming back.